Hey, what is up everyone? I'm back again with another review. Today I'll be talking about the updated Zaopin Z1 Pro Max. Just a quick disclaimer, this mouse was sent out to me by Mechkeys, but of course, that doesn't affect my thoughts and opinions for this review. Now before we continue, I just want to let you guys know, if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot for me to be able to make more of these reviews. Our goal is to hit 500 subs by the end of 2025, so please make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be updated on my latest videos. But with that being said, let's get on with the review. To start things off, let's talk about what's inside the box. So over here you have your traditional Zaopin box, but up on the left side you have your Max or the Pro Max version. Then inside it you have your carrying pouch, which is nice and soft, as well as a USB Type-C cable, set of skates, and your receiver, which is capable of up to 8000 Hz polling rate. Now, the build quality on the Z1 Pro Max is actually similar to my Z2 4K over here. It's actually really nice and solid, no side flexing, no creaking, no rattling whatsoever. Just overall a really good build quality for a mouse. Great job from Zaopin over here for their build quality. Now, this is actually my second time trying out an egg-shaped mouse. My first time was over here with my very old G102 Prodigy. Now, I believe this is the wired equivalent to the famous G305 from Logitech. And what I can say about the difference between these two is that the Z1 Pro Max is actually a lot more comfortable and smaller compared to the G102 Prodigy. Now the thing is with egg-shaped mouse is that they flare a little bit more outwards. As you can see, even here on the bottom, you can definitely see that they flare outwards compared to, say, a traditional symmetrical mouse like over here with my Lamzu Maya X, where they flare more inwards. Even here on my Skyrox V8, they flare more inwards than outwards, like the Z1 or the G102. What I really enjoyed about the Z1 is that even though it flares outwards, which is actually a little bit more difficult for me at least to claw grip because my fingers just isn't sitting comfortably, but for the Z1 Pro Max, it actually has this, I don't know if you can see over here, a small thumb groove that flares in vertically. It's able to have your thumb sit on it a lot better compared to the G102 where it's a lot more flat. So in my opinion, the Z1 is actually just a lot more comfortable for an egg-shaped mouse than the G102. And then over here as well on the right side, I don't know if you can see, but there's also a small, I don't know if you can see, but it also has a groove for your fingers. It's not as aggressive as over here on the left side below the side buttons, but you can definitely still feel it when you're holding it. So it just, in my opinion, for my grip, it's a lot more comfortable. Now looking at EloShapes over here, you can definitely see that the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max is quite similar to the Razer Orochi V2. Might I say even a near one-to-one clone of it. But the only difference is that the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max is sitting at 110 by 62 by 39 millimeters in length, width, and height, with 52 grams for the weight. And then for the Orochi V2, you have 107 by 62 by 38 millimeters in length, width, and height, and sitting at around 68 grams in weight. So in my opinion, the Z1 Pro Max is quite similar to the Orochi V2. And then comparing it to the G102 Prodigy, you can definitely see that the G102, or sorry, this is actually the G102 Light Sinks, but it's actually just similar to the G102 Prodigy, so bear with me. But as you can see, the G102 is a lot larger than the Z1 Pro Max, but the Z1 Pro Max is still a lot more comfortable for me, at least, to be able to properly grip because of the side grooves. So overall, the Z1 Pro Max, in my opinion, is a lot better than the Orochi and the Light Sync. Mainly comparing it to the Orochi over here, where it uses an old sensor for the Orochi with the Razr 5G, comparing it to the Z1 Pro Max, which uses a 3950, which we'll talk about a little bit more later with the specs. But yeah, just overall, a very good shape in my opinion for the Z1 Pro Max. Now for reference, my hand size is 21 by 10 centimeters. Normally I use a claw grip, sometimes I use fingertip grip, but for the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max, I tend to lean more towards the fingertip grip just because it's a lot smaller than what I'm used to for a small sized mouse. But for people with smaller hand sizes than mine, I think that claw grip is the way to go. But for people with similar or larger hand sizes than mine, fingertip grip is definitely going to be your friend. Yo, editing Arnie over here. So my dumbass forgot to include the specs as well as the comparisons for the Zaopin Z1 Pro and the Pro Max version. So I'm just gonna give you guys a quick overview of what that is. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the original Zaopin Z1 Pro with me, so I can't really compare them side by side. But looking at EloShapes over here, you can definitely see that the Z1 Pro and the Pro Max, they didn't really change the shape nor the dimensions at all. The only differences would be the specs as well as the weight over here. So for the Z1 Pro, you can definitely see that it weighs up to 46 grams, and then for the Z1 Pro Max, it weighs at 52 grams. And then for the specs, over here on the left side, you see the Z1 Pro. It uses a PixArt PAW3395 sensor that supports up to 26,000 dpi and up to 4,000 Hz polling rate. And then for the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max, it uses a PixArt PAW3950, supports up to 30,000 dpi and up to 8,000 Hz polling rate. Basically, I think that if you already have the Z1 Pro, I don't really think that you should upgrade the Z1 Pro for the Z1 Pro Max unless you really value the sensor a little bit more. But I still think that the PixArt 3395 is still a very good sensor and could still rival the 3950 in terms of performance. And now back to our regular scheduled broadcast. Now look at the bottom layout. Over here on the left side, you have your power on switch. Flicker to the right for 2.4 GHz, left side for Bluetooth, and then middle for off. And on the right side, you have your DPI switch. And then on the upper and lower sections, you have your full-size skates and your sensor skate over here. And then it uses this translucent type of bottom plate. The skates on the Z1 Pro Max are actually a little bit different comparing it to my Z2 4K that I have over here. So for the Z1 Pro Max, these uses these slightly harsher white style of PTFE skates, comparing it to my Z2 4K that I have over here, where it's slightly translucent. And in my opinion, the Z2 4K skates are a lot better. They glide a lot smoother comparing it to my Z1 Pro Max glide, where it's a lot more controlled. I think that the skates on the Z1 Pro Max is quite similar to the skates of the VXE-R1 as well as the ATK skates. I think the ATK X1 also has a similar style of skates. So in my opinion, they aren't really that bad, but also not as good as these ones on the Z2 4K. Now the coating on my Z1 Pro Max is quite similar to the coating on my Z2 4K over here, where it's this slightly smooth rubberized coating. It's not as good as the coating on my SH01 Pro from ROM over here, but it's definitely still good enough to be nice and grippy whenever your hands get warm and moist. So in my opinion, still very, very good coating for the Z1 Pro Max. Now, should you or should you not get the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max? In my opinion, if you already have the original Zaopin Z1 Pro, I don't really recommend upgrading to the Z1 Pro Max just because the jump from the 3395 sensor to the 3950 sensor isn't really that big enough to be noticed. But if you really want that upgraded sensor, then by all means go for the Z1 Pro Max. Now, if you're looking for a small egg-shaped mouse, or if you're looking to upgrade your Razer Orochi V2, because like I said, the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max is a near one-to-one clone of the Razer Orochi V2, then by all means go for the Z1 Pro Max. It's just a nice budget egg-shaped mouse, and for smaller hand size people, it will definitely feel a lot more comfortable, like I said earlier. And for larger sized hand people, it would still feel quite comfortable, at least for fingertip. For claw grip, it may vary from person to person, but it would still, in my opinion, be quite good. Now, that's all for my review of the Zaopin Z1 Pro Max. I'll make sure to leave a link down in the description below to where you can get this mouse, as well as the links to my other affiliates and discount codes for other brands. Now, if you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot with the channel and for me to be able to make more videos like this in the future. Make sure to follow me on my socials to get notified whenever I post new content, as well as on my streams. Links to those will be down in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.